Apparently Coors wants in. You're talking about New England IPAs and everything else. Apparently Coors wants in. Blue Moon is releasing Moon Haze. It's
Moon Haze?
Moon Haze, it's called. It's a hazy,
just shoot me now.
hazy, juicy pale ale.
Just shoot me now.
Syrup dripping from his fake road.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Logroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, November the 16th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
I've got half a pickle hanging out of my mouth.
Have a pickle hanging out of your mouth. I really don't want to know where it came from.
It came from a Whopper.
It came from a Whopper. Why are you eating a Whopper? Of all things to eat at the beginning of the show.
It's National Fast Food Day.
Happy Nation Fast Food Day? Why?
What'd you do?
I must have mistyped that. Or, you know what? I probably hit the delete when I hit the L in National. So.
I do that on my phone all the time.
There you go.
No, I don't eat a lot of fast food.
How's this? Happy National Fast Food Day.
There you go. Well done. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but every now and then I have to have a Whopper. It was like my mom's favorite, so it reminds me. Good old mom. God bless her soul.
Gotcha.
But,
I once a year I have McDonald's. That's it. Just once a year I have McDonald's, and if it's weird too. I don't know how it started, or it was at least a few years ago. The Friday before Christmas every year I go out, do some last minute Christmas shopping, and I treat myself to a Big Mac, fries, and a vanilla milkshake. And I sit in the car, eat it, and listen to comedy on Sirius. I don't know why. I don't know how it started, but that's what I seem to do every year. For the last 3 years, I've been doing that at least. So that's the once a year I have McDonald's. That's it.
To quote Topol, tradition.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, it's a tradition, right?
So how is that Whopper?
It's actually not a bad Whopper. And of course, the other thing is that will throw me off the maybe once a month, once every other month, is you drink enough, you tend to find yourself at White Castle every now and then.
That's a different story. That's a completely different story. And a note on that, too. Next Friday night, not this Friday night coming up, Friday before Thanksgiving, every year, my old fire company that I used to belong to does a turkey night. All the former members in North Arlington, all the former members and everybody gets together at the firehouse and has a big turkey dinner and, the whole war stories and the whole 9 yards. But whatchamacallit, the stuffing that they make every year is White Castle stuffing. They use White Castle burgers for the stuffing. It's actually really, really good.
Really?
It's actually really good, yeah. So
maybe not this year, where I've already got all the ingredients for the stuffing this year. So
I never make it at home. I have the recipe, obviously. I just got it from the firehouse years ago. But
you're gonna shoot that off to me.
You know what? I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. But I mean, I have it the Friday before, and I always bring a little bit home. Why do I need it the following week? I'll just have regular stuffing then.
Does it take a whole crave case?
Actually, they get 2 crave cases.
Yeah, but how many guys do you feed?
There's usually about 40-something there.
40-something firemen. Mm-hmm. You'd think there'd be more crave cases.
No, I mean, there's other things you put in it, too. So, okay. And it's just the stuffing, not the turkey and everything else you're eating, too. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway.
Very interesting.
So how are you this evening?
I think I told you I'm running a temperature, and I don't know why, but we're going to throw some alcohol at it and see what happens.
And see what rolls up. There you go.
Yeah.
And you said it's a low grade but you are usually run cold. Usually around 72 degrees for your temperature.
Yeah,
right?
On a good day. Right.
So right now your fever is only 86, right? So.
Something like that.
All right. Anyway, you are a cold guy. Anyway,
I'm a cold-hearted bastard.
Anyway, so we have a couple guests today.
Yes, let's bring them on because I want to drink, and I have some of their beer.
Excellent. That's because you were there not too long ago.
I was.
So you were able to bring some back.
We'll talk about that.
And I do not have any. I do have the cap on, though, so that's a good thing. So let's bring them on right now. We got Paul Mrocka and Devon Hamilton from Paradox Brewery up in North Hudson, New York. Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hello. Put the
there they are.
Lists up here. Is Paul and has his info, and there's Devon.
He's on your left.
There you go. Paul is on the on your left, yes, and Devon, wave high, and they can see it's you.
He's
There you
probably
go.
also on, because the camera usually reverses, so he's probably on Devon's left as well. Is that true, or did it actually correct?
No, he's on. Yeah, he must be on Devon's left. Yeah,
Can you do
Yep,
this?
he's on my left.
he's on your left. There you go. So, all right. Anyway, now that everybody's got that because that's a very important fact. How are you guys doing this evening?
Well, good.
All right.
How's everything up in way upstate New York?
It's snowing, so it sucks.
Which is
Oh.
great.
Is there
I'm
accumulation or is it just flurries?
No, it's no
No,
accumulation.
no.
No, it's just flurries.
Gotcha. Well, that's
Just
kinda
enough to
cool.
make everything pretty.
There you go. There you go.
I love
Depends on your definition of pretty.
This is true. This is true. Depends on what pretty is to you. All right. Let's open some beers before we get to talking, though. You guys are already drinking. I saw you drinking before we
No, we're
actually
not.
started the show.
Tea.
So why don't you tell us what you're drinking, and then Dave can open up his.
We were drinking because we waited forever for you guys to send us a link to get.
Oh, this is early. This
Uh,
this is early for
This
us.
is fine. Yeah, no. The
Great.
the link was actually sent 6 times. Just so you're aware.
I'm like a 2-minute early type of guy from
Paul's
the
a
military.
half hour early to everything,
Right.
and I'm 5 minutes late.
I'm usually about half an hour early, everything as well, and John's just about half an hour late.
I'm not a half an hour late. We were an hour and a half late last week, but that was because
That
of
wasn't your for a change. It wasn't
Chris's-
your fault.
Chris's meeting.
Oh,
so-
we would have
yes.
been asleep. I'm drinking Leaf Peeper Supreme, our German style fast lager.
Very nice.
Oh, that's a beautiful beer.
Very nice. Very nice.
I
Paul,
like that one.
I'm drinking beer.
he's drinking beer.
Paul's drinking Utica Club.
The best beers out there.
Gotta love it.
I'm drinking Parahellus.
Very nice. Very nice.
Nice.
Tasty beer. Dave, what are you drinking?
I'm pouring a Get Off My Lawn. So that is the
Okay.
amber lager, and I
Very
actually
nice.
have it in your what is this? The 25th anniversary of the Adirondack.
Oh, the marathon.
Marathon.
The marathon glass.
Marathon glass.
Yeah, I bought it, got it home, and went, oh, there's etching on the back of it too. I didn't because look at me. Do I look like I run marathons?
Yes.
No.
Well, it depends on,
That'd be my brother.
Is that a big whopper?
and he's chasing you with a beer. So
I'm fueling for the
yeah.
marathon. Yes.
it's the protein. It's carbs, carb uploading.
Hey, there's lettuce on there. That's salad.
There you go. There you go. I think there's an onion
Neither
too.
of us was involved in the marathon glass thing.
No.
No, we know nothing about that.
There you go.
There was some sort of sponsorship that went on that neither of us got involved in.
The owner and the ops manager did not get involved in the sponsorship.
We have people for that.
There's
That's right.
people
We don't
for
get involved in a lot of things.
There's sponsorship people that do that. They'll do this
We
task.
have a marketing and sales department, and
I'm the last to know anything.
Paul's the last to know it.
It's like being married, right?
Gotta love it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I will open my beer. I'm going to be drinking Field Notes. I do not unfortunately have any Paradox because I was not able to get up to the brewery or get a hold of any. This is Field Notes. It's from.
And I don't like them enough to bring them any.
There you go. Plus, we never, we only live about 40 miles away from each other. And we never see each other except for every Tuesday on the.
When were you up here?
podcast.
I was up there. Oh, jeez. Do you remember, John? I don't remember a damn thing anymore.
Maybe about three.
It was in
about
October.
3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh. I was hoping
Wasn't
you were drinking something fresh.
You should have made yourself known.
Nah. I really wish it had been sooner, or we could have got you guys on sooner, so it was fresher. Because I'm sure Get Off My Lawn. I was up there. We were there on October 8th, so it's
There
over
you
a
go.
month ago.
There you go.
But it held up nicely.
There you go.
No, that's fresh.
It's within
Cheers.
code.
Cheers.
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 I like that.
Yeah, I'll drink 2 Jersey beers tonight. This one's from Heavy Row Brewing in Seaside. So the other one I'll follow it up with is another Jersey beer. Anyway, yeah, unfortunately I was not able to get any Paradox. So, all right.
Well, good. You're drinking local at least.
Yeah, I kept it local. In fact, both breweries are within a 20-minute ride from me. So, all right. All right, let's kick it off as we normally do. We're going to start with Paul. We'll put you on the spot. Not really on the spot. It's fine. As far back as you can remember, what's the first that you can remember? What's the first craft beer you ever had? And I'm sure it was something over.
Sam Adams.
They
Sam
didn't
Adams.
call it that. They didn't call it that
Wasn't called
then.
craft
No,
beer
it wasn't
either.
craft beer. That was, it was a microbrew.
Microbrews.
So,
Yeah,
that
made
would have
by
been Sam.
somebody.
There you go.
Actually, it was. I don't think microbrew existed when Sam Adams first came out. It was just Sam Adams.
It was just a brewery. Yeah, it was beer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I came back from the military, and I was going back to school, and I saw this stuff called Sam Adams. I like it.
That's still
Oh, yeah.
Good
good.
beer.
No, it's
It's,
absolutely.
You know, everybody makes shit about everybody else's beer and stuff like that. You know, there's great beers for everything, including
Absolutely.
Budweiser. You know, it's like Sam Adams not a bad beer. Right? It was a game changer for everybody during that time period.
Absolutely.
Absolutely was. And the
Yeah, I
industry
mean,
would not be anywhere near where it's at right now if it wasn't for Jim Cook. So,
Absolutely.
And if all goes as planned, on the 21st, I will be sitting in their Boston tap room.
Mhm.
Was
Yeah,
it a
sure.
tap house?
They make a lot of beer out of that place.
Boston.
don't
That's where all the beer comes out of.
they? Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So
they're,
I'm looking forward to that, but I'm not looking forward to Monday morning.
There you go. So, yeah, I was at the Boston Tap Room a week ago yesterday. That was pretty fun. So, unfortunately, they're actually releasing, and we said this last week, they're releasing Old Fezziwig this year. So, it was not. It was not.
It's the holiday. It's their winter warmer.
It's the winter warmer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was not available last week when I was there, but it will be while Dave's up there. So he's going to be bringing me back some. So. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm always bringing him back something and never bring it back.
And well, he brings it back or it never gets to me. That's
No,
the
I bring
point,
it back and
It's
then I
back
drink
to
it.
his
There you go.
house.
Right.
Yes. And then I drink it.
Exactly. So.
And I'm like, where
Anyway.
did that beer for John go? Actually, the last time we actually swapped beers between each other,
Mhm.
we're actually in Portland, Maine. We
Yeah.
had to go all the way up to Portland, Maine to meet up to swap beer,
Swap beer.
even though we both
Sorry.
live in Jersey.
Exactly.
That's logical.
And we had
Portland,
6 or
Maine.
7 and we had 6 or 7 breweries while we were there together. And
That was
others.
probably the first brew pub I've been to, Gritty McDuff's.
Oh,
Back in way
Gritty
when they first
McDuff's, yeah.
opened up there, and that area of Portland, Maine was like down in the dumps.
Oh yeah.
And there somebody puts a little brew pub in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh yeah, Portland. The old port is like killing it now. I mean,
and it's beautiful.
oh, yeah,
packed,
it wasn't
gorgeous
any-
and
it
packed
wasn't
every night.
anything like that.
Yeah,
It was nothing like that.
On
Yeah.
those cobblestone streets.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
Love it.
It was
Weren't-
abandoned
weren't we-
warehouses and everything else.
Weren't we stumbling down a couple of those on one of the nights? I believe so.
Weaving down them, yeah.
Weaving down something like that.
Yeah.
So
That was a big deal for the all these English ales that they made at that time.
sure,
You know, it was
absolutely.
changing.
So Devin, what was the first craft beer you ever had that you can remember?
I had a Dogfish Head. I think it was like a raison d'etre
Okay.
in the parking lot of a fish show.
Had a
And
raison
I can't
d'etre
remember-
before
I
a fish
can't
show. That's
remember
great.
What year? Because it was at a fish show. But yeah, that was my introduction to craft beer. I was at least 21 for sure.
Sure,
Definitely.
of course.
Sure.
Well,
Absolutely.
you wouldn't have been able to open the beer unless you weren't. If
Right.
you weren't, so
Right,
Yeah,
right,
they've got the childproof locks on them.
exactly,
Don't
exactly.
right, exactly. But that was
beer,
my
the beer
first-
bottle checks your ID and then lets you open.
Right.
It. Exactly.
Exactly. So
Right.
yeah, Dogfish was my big introduction to craft beer.
There you go.
But
They got
seriously,
really
you
60
went
minutes.
in big ABV first. Dove right in.
Well, raison d'etre is not
It
too
wasn't.
big.
It wasn't like a
Raison d'extra.
like a discussion
The extra,
beforehand. It was the parking lot of a fish show.
Right. So, exactly.
There's other stuff going on as well.
a couple things,
Tons.
burgers cooking on a grill, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
you're talking
Bratwursts and stuff.
about. Brats,
Mostly-
absolutely.
Grilled cheeses and French bread pizzas.
Right. And and cupcakes and some warm milk before you go into the show. Right.
And
Yes,
maybe
I'm
and
really
maybe
not into some fish shows.
and probably a brownie or two.
There you go.
I
Now we're
wasn't
getting
going there, but in any event, all right. Paul? What first got you into the industry? And I mean, I know some of the backstory myself, but what
Probably
what
know
first
the whole story already, John. Come on.
yeah, no, I know we've talked about it, but let's
I
let
was-
everybody
let
listening
people-
know.
I got out of the service. I had a couple of years of a degree. here,
Which
and I
branch,
was
if I may ask?
Army.
Army. My dad served.
Parahellis is kind of named after that too. It's a play on words, as paradox as paratrooper. Because I was in the 82nd Airborne for a little while. Then I went to flight school. But I came back and went to school, and I bumped into a friend of mine that also went to flight school with me. And his parents were, his brother and his father were homebrewing. and that was 1984. And we said, well, that'd be a great idea. Let's do some home brewing.
It'll make our beer cheaper.
Yeah, we'll make a beer cheaper, which we didn't have to talk about. We had to drive 50 miles to go get the supplies and the rest. And half this stuff wasn't that very good.
Yeah.
But it was my first attempt. Way before we called it craft beer.
Sure.
We just called it beer.
It was just beer. Yeah.
We're making beer.
But now we have a really, really like old and established account with our malt supplier because back in the day when they were selling malt out of a shed in somebody's backyard, Paul was buying malt from them. So our account is really old.
Your account number is 003, right?
Not quite that old, but
that's awesome. You spent a lot of time sampling some beers overseas too, right? When you were over there.
Yes, and even before I retired, flying around the world. Also, I was tasting beers other places too.
Flying around the world. So let everybody know what you were doing flying around the world, Paul.
Oh, I worked for a major corporation. I worked for 2 airlines, but they went out of business. Mm-hmm. And I went corporate, and I was flying international. So I'd always try to find a place that had beer. And most of the time, I'd look for a brewery and stuff like that, especially in China. I watched China from 1999 up to when I retired in 20, just grow in the craft beer industry.
Sure.
And breweries showing up there, and craft beer is very popular in China today, but it's popular all over the world too. I mean, I was in the Czech Republic, and I was in this old established brewery that, my God, must have been 400 years old, and they were trying to make an IPA. It wasn't very good, but it was an attempt.
They were attempting it. There you go.
It was attempting. So, but yeah, so I actually started a little blog once, and then I just dropped off on that before I opened up the brewery.
I did not.
Yeah, I did. I was just reviewing beers from around the world.
I did that for a little while too.
Same here, and
we all did. Yeah.
I was so lazy that I even lost interest in it.
When
you weren't that lazy for a while.
Anyone gave a shit
about
about the
once you
beers
drink a few beers, you really don't care about what the hell it tastes like after a while.
Well, Dave was writing it, and it was only me and like 4 other people were reading them, but that's besides the point.
That's about right.
But in any event, that's great. Devon, same question. What got you into the beer business?
I had a home brewing problem that got a little out of control.
Home brewing problem. There you go. That's a way to clarify.
Built out a home brewery in a basement that was way too complex for any home brewery that had a right to exist. Below grade pump with a floor drain, brew system that could have been controlled from my phone and all that. And I was going to school for history at the time and decided I didn't want to be in a school for the rest of my life. So I jumped into a CBOL course and started looking for jobs in the industry, and got in at a brewery on the ground level, started scrubbing floors and working my way up from there.
There you go. And
can we ask him? Can
we mention what brewery that was? Or?
Yeah, I started at Adirondack Pub and Brewery, actually, right around the corner from us. But after that, I moved up and down the East Coast for a good couple of years, just working at a bunch of small breweries, just kind of building my career up, getting to the point where I could get to the point where I could run a place.
Gotcha.
Did they let you make the root beer?
I made a lot of root beer.
I used to go there when they were giving the pint glasses away if you ordered root beer.
I have not made root beer since, but I have made enough root beer for an entire career.
Yeah, you don't need to make any more. You made enough of it.
It's very good root beer.
It is good root beer. We do not make root beer here.
Yeah. So, Paul, when did you first decide you wanted to open up Paradox?
Which time?
Yeah, which time?
Which time? The time that it actually happened.
I was brewing a lot here up at the lake. I built a house on Paradox, which was a vacation home. Now it's my full-time home. And a lot of people were coming over drinking the beer, and some of them were just pushing me to open up the brewery. So in 2011, I was flying somewhere overseas, and somebody goes, one of the other pilots goes, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. So I got in my room and went to Zoom and made an LLC. So I said, okay, I had an LLC, now what? And then, so I did a lot of the work and the paperwork while I was in my hotels all over the place, the world.
Keeps you busy.
It kept me busy. Yeah.
And out of trouble.
Yeah. People are going, why aren't you going out now? I'm in my room doing work, And that was, little did I know how much more work I would have once I opened up the brewery. It's not an easy venture to just open up a brewery.
No, it's not. So that was 2011. So it took how long for you?
It took about a year and a half to build the brewery out, and we opened up in July of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in that 1,400 square foot facility for
Too long.
5 years, 6 years.
Too long.
It was 19 to 19, November 19.
October of 19 was our first batch here. We didn't move up here in earnest until November of 19.
Gotcha.
Right. And in February of 20, we opened up the tasting room.
Mm-hmm.
And in March 10th of 20, we closed.
Closed the tasting room.
6 months.
Hey.
I'm telling you, we're buried on an Indian burial ground.
First world's people.
First world.
It's not just me.
There you go.
Well, I remember the old space, and I was confused at first because I know about Paradox Lake and Paradox Brewing, Paradox Lake, but you were in Scroon, not too far from the lake.
Right.
So yeah, it was a little confusing at first. So it makes a lot more sense where you are now. And I gotta say, it's a beautiful building, beautiful view you have out of the back of. Is that a parking lot back there?
That's the old parking lot from Frontier Town, the amusement
That's
park.
what I thought.
But that was the one they had from the 50s and 60s. And then they closed that down and they opened up the A-frame down right off the exit 29 off the Northway there. So yeah, that's the old one. The sign, right now the sign is showing on the back there because the leaves are down.
You're doing a little
Oh, is
injustice to the view. You're supposed to look at the mountains behind the parking
Oh,
lot.
trust me, I love the.
He looks at
Adirondacks.
everything. It's just
Yeah, I just see everything.
nothing gets by him.
Maybe one day we'll have Journey out there on the back playing on that parking
There
lot.
you go.
There you go. That works for me. Way up there.
Or Lizzie. Lizzie, is that it?
Lizzo.
Lizzie. I thought you meant Thin Lizzie. I thought you were going to bring.
We went down for some annual business reviews of some of our distributors, and they're playing this music. I think they're just doing it to piss me off in the back of the car while sitting there.
We were live, laugh, loving in the car. Paul did not have a blast.
I can imagine.
No country, no
Nope.
Journey.
Nope.
Nope.
None of that.
I was
Gotta love it.
impressed.
Anyway. So now you're in the new space. So let's talk about the old space stuff first. 1,400 square foot. That's what you first opened up in. It was a cool space.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice, and I don't want to, to use the word quaint or whatever, but it was really cool. It was.
It was comfy.
It was cozy.
It's comfy.
Cozy.
Comfy, cozy.
Cozy. It was small. We managed to crank a respectable amount of beer out of the space we were in.
Right.
Honestly, we rode that place hard, and we got a lot of beer for the size system we had and for the space we had. I mean, we used every available inch of outdoor space. We put coolers in outside. We used to have a canning line that we completely disassembled and wheeled into storage and wheeled back out of storage.
And put back together to can.
Was it once a month?
I don't want to talk about it.
Once every 2 weeks? Something like that? It was tough. I mean, whenever we had to package, basically, we had to shut down the brewery. We couldn't brew and package at the same time.
Got ya.
Things were rough.
What size system did you have in the old space?
Minus 21 degrees outside, and they're pushing the grain up a ramp into some farmer's thing. Today, they just push a button, and it just dumps into the...
There you go.
They have to turn a wheel.
I wasn't
Technology.
gonna buy that push button. That's right. I didn't buy the push button. I made them turn one wheel.
You left off the push button. You made him turn a wheel. I got you.
Taskmaster.
I said, don't you want that electric motor? I said, no,
What
they got to do something.
What we need to do is put right above the wheel a picture of like the South Screwn grain scenario.
Right.
Like,
So
remember where you came
Remember
Now
this.
So now when it's really cold out there, minus 21 degrees or so, they're inside with T-shirts. Not outside.
Absolutely.
I really feel sorry for him now.
I remember how I stumbled upon you guys. It was I've been going up there for decades and decades, and we actually pulled off the road, off the road down the hill a little bit into the parking lot,
Right.
because that was you took over in a space that was like one of our favorite kitschy souvenir stores, and we're actually stopping to go into there.
I think
it's
it's
like-
back to that now.
Is it back to that? And because we were like, where
Yeah.
did the souvenir? I was like, who gives a shit? There's a brewery here.
It's a
Now let's
bait
go
shop.
drink. It's the bait shop.
Yeah.
No, really, it's a bait
No, it
shop.
was.
Really,
No,
it's
no, I
really a bait
remember.
shop.
Paint shop.
They
It's
sell
come full
sodas
circle.
and they have souvenirs.
That's fine.
And the souvenirs. They had like chainsaw carved black bears out front.
That guy's still next door.
Frankie's still there.
You still there? Nice.
Gotta love it. I just asked you, what was the size of the system in the old place?
It was a 10-barrel.
It's 10 barrel.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you have what do you have in the new space?
We have a 40 hectoliter now, which is around 35 barrels.
A little bigger.
40 hectoliters.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not
So
just a 40 hectoliter. It's a German 40 hectoliter.
A German.
we also
40
tried to
hectoliter.
go-
Star.
We also tried to go all metric when we came here,
Okay.
and that didn't end up working out completely. So now we have all the units.
Gotcha. So you have hectoliters. You have.
We have hectoliters, barrels, gallons, liters, milliliters, everything.
You have
We end up
everything.
having to use everything.
You are the United Nations of liquid measurement.
As long as you're putting out
Yes.
good pints. That's all I
Very
care.
nicely put.
Yeah, the GE
I'm gonna steal that.
Go for
GEA
it.
Craft Star is almost fully automatic
That's awesome.
today. I say hit a button, but they yell
It's
at
not
me.
quite that.
They yell at me. They have to
There's
hit 2 or
more.
3 valves. That's about it.
There's more to it than that. You have to throw a couple valves, which a brew house tells you to do when it's time to throw them. But the big lift now is programming the brew house to do what you want.
Gotcha.
That's
So
exactly what you want.
It will do exactly what you want.
you're still basically
we'll do
controlling
nothing
everything
more.
because you're the one programming everything that it has to do. So you're still controlling it. It's just that you're not doing the actual
Well, the
tasks.
recipes
every
are already
time.
programmed into the system, so it's
Okay.
already there.
Right.
So once
No,
you
I'm not
pro-
saying you're
once-
doing it per batch. You're obviously doing it once, and every time you make that recipe, then it's already
Right.
there. But
Right.
so,
The core
that's
beer
awesome.
recipes are there. They
You
run.
could have 3 tanks, not the fermenters, for $1.5 million. It's all yours.
What a deal.
Hold on, let me get my checkbook. Hold on.
That
Yeah,
check is a
somehow-
little rubbery.
There you go.
Somehow we missed the system in the middle. We just went from this, after dealing with stuff that we had, crappy system, to this. And we missed all the middle stuff.
Skipped right over the mid stuff.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotta love it. All right. So it took about 2 years to open up, and then you were there for 6, and now you're in your new space.
Yes.
How's the new space? Obviously, pandemic aside, how's the new space working out?
Great. We love being here, man. I mean, the new brew house is functioning perfectly now.
I knocked on
The
wood for you.
guys who are brewing, I came on as head brewer, brought this system online, and then kind of really quickly handed that over to, frankly, somebody smarter and more capable than me to run the brewery, and
All right.
came into a desk position that you frankly told me that I was going to be at for years before then, and I denied. But yeah, we're here now. We're operating great in the new brewery, and we're comfortable here. We're cranking out beer.
That's great. Yeah, the space looks gorgeous. I have not been to the new space yet. I do want to get up there.
Oh, it is gorgeous.
I do want to definitely take a ride up. But
We're not sitting on our hands in the new space either. I mean, we are bringing a new pavilion online soon. We're going to be expanding our pavilion options. Right now, we have 15 acres of outdoor space that we were utilizing all summer, right? But our new pavilion next spring, we're going to be putting some concrete down and getting people a lot more outdoor spaces to come in and enjoy the space even more.
beautiful.
So we'll have
Beautiful.
2 outdoor pavilions.
Very nice.
Nice.
That's great.
One thing impressed me while I was there. Not only did you have like, beer tourists coming in or people just stopping by, but you've got a really good local following. You've got your
We do. The
yeah.
locals keep us going during the winter too.
Sure, absolutely.
But what we're considering locals before were, oh, just around here, but the folks from Glens Falls and Albany, they come up for a few hours and sit around and have a few beers and head back too. So we have,
So the definition of local has expanded its boundaries.
It has.
And that's great to hear for you guys because Glens Falls has a few of its own breweries. So if they're leaving Glens Falls to come up to you guys, you must be doing something right.
There you go.
We like to think so.
That's always a good thing. In fact, one of those breweries is actually going to be on the show in 2 weeks. So.
Really?
Which one?
News to me.
Common Roots. Yeah, it's not news to you.
Common Roots. We know them well. Good brewery.
Yeah. So, they'll be on the show on the 30th.
We'll watch.
There you go. Absolutely.
Will it start on time?
No.
If they get the link.
Oh my God! Past my bedtime, guys.
What time are you normally tucked in at?
9.
Yeah. That's funny.
We're getting there.
Hey, we work very hard around here.
I got
Everybody's
you.
tired.
I'm usually 10, but
You're like my sister-in-law. She's in bed by like 8:30 every night. They eat dinner at like 3 in the afternoon.
My dinner was an hour ago.
There you go. I
was eating crackers.
Oh, you saw me eat my dinner, and I apologize for that.
Dave's dinner is at the beginning of this show every week, so, on Tuesdays.
Sometimes it's dessert.
I know if I knew that was cool to eat a burger at the beginning of the show, we would have done the same thing.
What beer's over there anyway?
I got Get Off My Lawn, Helles, and Pilsner.
Pilsner.
There you go.
No, I eat at the beginning of every show because we had one show where I had not eaten all day, and it just happened to be with one of our more lunatic guests on, this guy Tom, and he is not only he goes by the Beer Whisperer, but he's also the Whiskey Whisperer. And so we were drinking, and this is his first time on the show, and him and I have known each other a long time, so we're trying to outdrink each other, and I'm doing it on an empty stomach with beer and whiskey. And as John will tell you, towards the end of the show, I was asleep.
Yeah, if you look, the last 10 minutes of the show, Tom and I are talking to each other, and Dave's snoring. So it was pretty fun.
Not quite snoring.
There was a couple of snores.
I was fading in and out.
Yeah.
So now we make sure that I eat before the show, so it's now part of the
running
juvenile shtick at the beginning.
Exactly. Talk about some of the beers. You just mentioned the 3 beers that you had there.
I'm going to grab another one of their beers while you're doing that. Why don't
you grab another one while we talk about some of the beers that you guys are putting out? So talk about your flagships, your core beers. What's your flagships?
A lot of what we do is about balance, right?
Okay.
So we try to balance out our core range with some hoppy beers and some crispy boy lagers, right?
Sure.
So we do Beaver by IPA. That's our flagship IPA. That's what pays everybody's paycheck, right? Beaver Bite's a moneymaker.
Plenty
40%
of
of our volume.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in right hot on second is Paradox Pilsner. Makes about 25% of our volume up. And that's a good kind of a cross between a Czech Pils and a German Pils.
Nice.
It's a lovely beer.
It uses the wrong hops to be a Czech Pils, but it's a little too crispy to be a German Pils.
Gotcha.
But everything we try to do is about balance. So we have a specialty range that usually entails around 20 different beers a year that we try to balance out between hoppy beers, lagers, and then with a couple Belgians and stuff like that thrown into the middle. We try to keep it interesting with that core range, but then also, like, if you take the brewery as a whole, we try to do this one-off range or this occasional range, or I'm hesitant to call it seasonal, but maybe some people would call it seasonal range.
Well, yeah. Well, when I was there on the 8th, you were kind of heavy on the German beers, for good reason.
And we always are.
Well, I mean, the 8th of October and that time of year, you're going to make German beers. You're going to make them in September and October, right? Or release them, not make them. You know what I mean? But
we also have a lot of German equipment, so we lean into German-style beers whenever we get the opportunity to. But we still do make a good, really broad range of hazy hoppy beers that we try to balance out all the German stuff we do with.
Gotcha.
So, like, our core range balances out, and then we try to balance out our core range that goes into the grocery stores with our specialty range that goes into your local bar that has one-offs that go, oh, holy shit, Paradox brewed an overly fruited Berliner.
Mm-hmm.
Is that coming up?
Actually, what you guys see behind us is these are all 2021 beers. So these are all the past labels. If you guys were here 3 months from now, you would start to see, label test prints for next year's beers, all the 2022 beers.
Gotcha.
Those will be coming into this wall behind us in, I don't know, another 8 weeks, maybe.
Gotcha.
Guys, we've watched the trend right now, and even doing all these annual business reviews with our distributors, we're noticing something interesting, which we've been following this trend for a while, is some of the IPAs, especially the double IPAs, are falling, and some of the crispy boys are starting to come up.
Sure.
The lower alcohol beers, like our Helles is 4.5%, our Pilsner's 5%. The 8% beers are kind of coming down a little bit. They're not as much in demand as they were at one time. And
Absolutely.
when we didn't know what the distributors' numbers were at that particular time, but after we came back from all these reviews, they're seeing the same trend. And we've been in that trend for a while right now.
We've been drinking lager beer in the brewery for ever. But that's been in our DNA since the beginning. I mean, Paradox Pilsner was
One of our original beers that I used
that I inherited, that I had
I was
when
brewing.
I got here.
That I was brewing.
Right.
Well, that's been a common theme with a lot of our guests talking about the move to the crisper beers, the lower alcohol beers.
Yeah, there's a big push for that too, and
we've been talking about that for over a year now.
Yeah, we've been definitely, and there's I'm a big, Dave will tell you, I'm a huge Schwarzbier fan. So dark lagers,
Same.
That's me, and there's been lately, and I'll even go like the last 6 months or even longer. There's been a lot of Schwarzbiers out there, a lot of German dark lagers, and a lot of Czech dark lagers too. I'm seeing out in the market too.
Next week we're coming out with our Dunkel.
Yeah, we got a Dunkel coming out next week.
And what's it called?
Me and my Dunkel.
Me and my Dunkel.
Me and my Dunkel.
Yeah. So that comes out next week.
There you go. Got a couple of.
We of course we put a Maibach out in
This Maibach?
November. Oh yeah, that's
that
a great
Maibach.
beer.
You obviously put it out in October because I was there, and I'm not the only one drinking this right now.
Yeah. Speaking of that next beer that Dave's going to drink, I got a couple of comments here.
Going to drink up and started drinking it.
Tyler Mrocka says, "I'm drinking one of the new ones, Brass Bone." I think you left the S off, Tyler. Brass Bones, amazing brew. So there you go.
Can we all comment on Tyler's fierce beard?
Yes,
that is
Tyler. That's definitely a fierce picture, Tyler.
When you're running that fierce of a beard with the bow tie.
Oh yeah,
you got it going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He looks like a badass right there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's my.
Unfortunately for him, we know him personally.
Right.
Yeah, and he has,
as do I. So
he must be my nephew.
yeah, I think he's your nephew, Paul. There you go. And
you mentioned.
we also have another one. Corey Mrocka says, "I'm drinking one-handed applause." But my favorite is the overbite.
Wow.
No, that's actually a nice little balance. You guys are illustrating it very well.
There you go.
Yeah,
Good job, Tyler and Corey too.
Yeah, that one hand applause is like wow. It's like so juicy.
We got a good new head brewer, Dylan Brown, who's taken the reign on a lot of our hoppy beers and doing a lot of research on haze stability and hoppy beers. That has been doing a lot of work and making our hoppy beers really world class.
Nice, awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, because I'm a huge, lager fan, if you will, and everything that means with that. So, and speaking of lagers, Dave, why don't you open up your next beer?
I've been drinking it already.
Well, then, I didn't put it up there. I didn't know you opened it. You just held the can up before. You didn't say you were. There you go. So, Dave is drinking Brass Bones. Here we
Why
go.
don't you talk about it?
Is it any good?
Yeah, he's
And you
just
tell us
silent about it. He just
when
opened it.
When I was there, I went through quite a bit of what you had to offer when we were there, and this was my favorite. This was absolutely my favorite. I'm like, I got to bring some of this back. Bring back a couple 4-packs, one for me, one for John. So I drank. This is my 7th. There's
So there's one left for John.
So there's one left for me. So
Sure.
I'll get it at some point. If
Sure.
if he doesn't drink it first. So.
I'm gonna see if I can't get it in one of those T-shirt cannons and shoot it off to him.
Shoot it, yeah. It has to go about 40 miles. If you could charge it really good, maybe it'll get here. So,
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, my next beer.
Where do you both live? I know New Jersey.
Yeah.
Before he just squashed the wise ass answer. Thanks. Well, John's in a house. He's in a townhouse. I'm in an apartment.
I'm down in Belmar.
I'm up in Union City,
shore.
New Jersey,
In Days in Union City.
where you can never ever find parking.
I used to be in
None
North.
of those things mean anything to me.
Pearlist distributors that are there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to be in North Jersey,
And I used to be down in Central Jersey, where John is now.
Right.
We just kind of swapped, or as New Jerseyans call it, he was in Taylor Ham territory. I was in pork roll territory, and now it's swapped. I'm in Taylor Ham territory.
Isn't it the
the
same
same
product?
thing. It's
the
though?
same thing. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Don't never come to Jersey and say that.
Oh no, it's the same thing you're
it
referring
is.
to, and everybody will
But
say it
what
is,
it's
but
named. Yeah.
what it's named is differently. You know,
That
people
will-
in
that will
North
start
Jersey call it like all right, like you call a Band-Aid a Band-Aid. You can have 17 different brands of a Band-Aid, and only one of them's a Band-Aid, but you call it a Band-Aid. Or cotton swabs.
Is a
Cotton
Band-Aid.
swabs are Q-tips, right? But every cotton
These
swab you
nerds
call it a
actually
Q-tip.
taught me about Taylor Ham, and I do love it.
Taylor Ham with egg on a hard roll.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, there you
and,
go.
and I go by Taylor Ham because you taught me Taylor Ham.
Right. So yeah, years ago it's Taylor
That's
pork
'cause I'm a
roll.
North Jersey guy.
Yeah, but Taylor. I grew up calling it Taylor Ham, and
I grew
because
up
that was
calling
the
it pork roll.
original name of it was Taylor Ham. I'm talking 120 years ago. It was Taylor Ham. Then the FDA came in and said, "Hey, there's no ham in it. You got to change it. It's Taylor pork roll." But the damage was already done. Everybody for 40 years was calling it Taylor Ham. So for the next 100 years, they keep calling it Taylor Ham. But it's pork roll, and everybody in South Jersey says, no, it's pork roll. You can't call it Taylor Ham. 'Cause
Central
it's
and South Jersey.
Central and
The majority of the state by area calls it pork roll. The majority of the state by population
calls it
Taylor Ham.
I would never want to step on the FDA.
Pretty much.
I'll tell you what, though.
It's the official brewery line.
Just a little bit.
If you're in New Jersey and call it the wrong thing in the wrong place, we'll put this way: New Jerseyans are the only state that
Can
fight
I just
over
show them my New
breakfast
York
meat.
ID and be like, I'm from up north in New York. I don't know.
We don't care.
I know.
We don't care. This is Jersey.
So, well, Dave doesn't. Anyway, my second beer I'm going to drink is from Source Brewing, which is only about 15 minutes away from here in Colts Neck. It's an apple cider donut ale. So,
Interesting.
I almost
It's
wore
a-
my Source shirt today. But
it's a cream ale that they brewed with apple cider donuts from Battleview Orchards. That's
which
pretty
is
much what it
weird because and we talked to them about this when they were on the show. They're right next to a place that is famous for their apple cider donuts, but before they existed, that place contracted with another brewery to do beer with their apple cider donuts. So
Right.
they have to go.
So Devon actually has a great story on that.
Please share, Devon.
Let's hear it.
GEA.
Oh, yeah. So we had the Germans in, right? They're
The Germans,
commissioning
all of them?
our brew-
Everyone.
Yeah, most of them.
East and West.
I wasn't
It's
there.
it's a big brewery.
We had the Germans in to commission our brew house.
Gotcha.
And, I'm telling them, okay, this is something, this is kind of how we do things here. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to do with our hoppy beers. We make pilsners. You guys know how to do that. Said, in America, we put Captain Crunch in our beer. So what's a Captain Crunch? I didn't know what the Captain Crunch spec on this Louder Ton is. He goes, what about this Captain Crunch? And I said, it's breakfast cereal. In America, people throw breakfast cereal into their beer. We just dump it in. And he goes, why would you do something like that? Why are you putting breakfast cereal in your beer? I don't understand. Why would you do something like that? And
I'm pretty sure Captain Crunch doesn't fall under the Rhine Heights
you're in
caboose.
America. And I just let him get a little hot and heavy for, I don't know, like 45 minutes or so. And then
That's
we
pretty
cooled
good.
him out and said, no, that's cool. We don't
do
put
that.
Captain Crunch in here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do any of
No.
those.
Now, do you put?
beers.
Now, here's the thing, though. But if you were going to use Captain Crunch, would you put it right in the boil, or would you dry hop with it?
No, we would obviously add it to the mash tun. And of course, we're not going to put
Obviously.
Captain Crunch into our beer. We're Applejack's Brewery.
It's funny though, John and I do know quite a few breweries
Oh,
that
yeah.
do that. One of them makes a lot of sense because their beer is nearly milk anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
This is true. And as John Hall has said, they are registered
cover up
dairies.
a lot of flavors that way, can't you?
Oh,
I
yeah.
won't tell you that there's never been bags of lactose in this brewery.
There you go.
That would be a lie.
That's
I have seen the brewery we're talking about. I've
There's
actually
less,
seen a tanker full of lactose. pull
a
up
tanker
to the
truck
place.
of lactose pull up. Yeah,
There's a lot less now.
exactly. So anyway, all right. Anything coming up on the horizon as far as seasonals coming out or specialties that you're releasing soon?
A
We
lot.
got Dunkel.
Besides the
We got a
Dunkel.
Dunkel.
Besides the
Right.
Dunkel.
Yeah, we got me and my Dunkel coming out, and we have a big lineup for 2022 ready to go. Some new beers, some returning beers. We're going to be putting a little bit of we're going to be focusing on pale ale a little bit. Hazy hoppy pale ale for 2022 because we're hoping to add one to our core portfolio in 2023. So we're going to be experimenting with those beers a little bit in 2022.
Sure.
I think
That
pale
works.
ales are coming back as well.
I do
The
too.
lower
Yes.
alcohol,
I do.
you know, not as hoppy, a little bit smoother.
5% hazies.
Right, yeah.
Very
If you can
nice.
make a smooth 5% hazy beer that's not crazy hop, a lot of people are going to like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I got you. Me and my Dunkel, is the label for that Paul, you and Tyler? Me and my Dunkel.
I don't know what the hell the label is.
It's not up here.
I don't
It's not
know.
up here.
I told you,
No,
I have no idea what goes on in here, you know.
No, the label's not up on the wall yet.
They fill you in when you need to be filled in.
No, that's a Grateful Dead inspiration right there.
Right.
So what does Tyler do at the brewery? And don't say as little as possible.
I learned nothing.
Tyler does nothing at the brewery.
Close.
Yeah,
Tyler lives in New Jersey.
yeah Tyler lives in
Does
Little
he?
Falls.
Ah, so does he really?
I'm the one in the wastewater room cleaning the tanks. Oh, don't laugh. It's true.
I'm sure.
Tyler should be.
Yeah, Tyler should be the one.
Well, he's got a day off a week, right? He can drive up there and take care of everything.
Sure.
Why not? Right. So, yeah, Tyler.
He
Tyler
has
lives
the
in Little Falls.
experience, not me.
This is true. This is true.
Those are about equal at this point.
So, if Tyler's still watching, he hasn't commented yet. Either that or he isn't, and his ears are ringing. Anyway,
I know we can't see comments. We got you guys on full screen.
there you go. No, just he hasn't made another comment yet. So anyway, cool. I did want to before we get to any of our top tens or anything else. Top
Three.
tens. Top three. There you go. I'll explain why it's not a top 10 in a couple minutes. There you go. But
Because 10 is too many and too hard.
well, yeah, 10 would take too long. Because our top threes, Dave and I usually mention 5 or 6. So for a top 10, it would even be more. So it would just take way too long. Anyway, are you happy? Are you beer fest?
Are you happy? I thought you
Are
were
you
going to say,
happy?
are you happy?
Well, I'm gonna, but it was for something else. Beer fests are starting to come back online now. Everything's starting to open up again as far as beer fest and so forth. It's been for the last several months. Do you do a lot of beer fests generally? And
We do some. We do some. I don't think we do a lot. And honestly, beer fest costs a fair amount of money.
Sure.
They're expensive.
Mhm.
The exposure rate. It seems like a lot of the beer fests want you to bring a lot more beer than what they're going to pay you for.
Mm-hmm.
You send your staff down there. It becomes expensive. And recently the beer fest has become a drunk fest. You know, it's not like, you get somebody coming up to me, hey, let me have the highest alcohol beer. I know it's going to taste good, and he's chewing gum.
Right.
No, really, give me a break, okay? You know what? Spit the freaking gum out.
I've been there.
You know,
I
You get the give me your highest ABV guy or give me your lightest ABV guy.
Right.
We had somebody come up to our booth when we're doing, maybe it was tap or I don't know what, and it was the booth. I mean, it was the chug,
Right. Pour that
the-
line out. Pour that line out. Pour that
and
line
then
out.
they-
Now
and then
give
they
me
took-
that. Pour
they
that
took
in
a
my
pitcher and
glass.
they drank the whole pitcher. I'm not sure. At one time, beer fest used to be fun to do it, but I think today it's all about the people making the big dollars on it. I'm going to take it from the brewer. You need this because you can promote your beer. No, I don't need that. We'll promote ourselves. And so we're very limited on what what events that we go to.
Sure.
I don't know what COVID's going to do to the beer fest industry as a whole either. You know what I mean? Will we get better people at beer fests? Will we see more maybe bar owners or beer buyers at beer fests?
See, I don't think you'll get, I don't want to say better people or worse people, but the people you're going to see at the beer fest are the ones who feel that your anti-maskers are going to show up because they would go anywhere anyway before anything opened up.
A lot of them too have switched over. They're not using they're giving you the souvenir tasters, right? But you're not using them. They're giving it to the disposable cups. So everything's been filled up and placed on. You reach up, grab one, and then drink it, throw the cup away.
Well, we're at a big dilemma right now whether we're ever going to go back to filling growlers.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah,
it's a really big deal to us because people
internally it's a big deal.
Right. People come in with dirty growlers, do this stuff. We have to grab them. They want us to clean them for them, and it's horrible for the beer.
And then once we fill it, it's around a 30% loss.
Beer. I mean, when
we don't go down the drain.
When we have a canning line that has very low DOs, less than 30 parts per billion, we have the can as a better venue for the consumer. I mean, the same with crowlers too. You fill up a can, it's open to oxygen, then you put a lid on the darn thing and you stick it in your refrigerator, in the back of your refrigerator, and you think, hey, it's great, and I'll come back and drink this in 3 or 4 weeks. And they go, oh my God, that's disgusting because all the oxygen that's in that can.
Sure.
And there's a lot of things we're trying to, it's a really tough decision. We haven't made our decision yet whether we're going to do it, but after COVID I've had a growler, somebody come in with a growler once, and I took the top off, and I tell everybody, don't put a top, we'll give you a new lid for it. And you could not even stick your finger through the mold that was on the top.
Oh.
And he wanted me to fill that growler.
Growlers and crowlers or something.
You should just give it back to him. It's already filled.
If they think they're losing money because they paid for that growler here, I have 2 pallets of growlers upstairs here, which are brand new, which are just sitting there. It's not a good, I don't think it's a good fit for our industry if you want to have quality beer and because people will turn around and drink that, a month later say, wow, this beer really sucks.
Right.
It does
Growlers,
no good for the industry.
Look, growlers were a good thing back in the day when there were no canning lines. It was just bottles, and for that matter, you didn't have a lot of package at the brewery. There were only a handful of breweries. It wasn't as crazy as it is today. And you wanted to take the beer home and drink it, and you were going to drink it that night or the next day or that weekend. Yeah, that's fine, But to get a growler, look, you gotta clean your growlers, right? You gotta clean them, and you gotta.
We used to tell people growlers are a commitment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're filling this beer up in a growler, you need to drink this in 24 to 48 hours max.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the state of New York, we can't give a deposit back. We can't do anything. We have to fill their growler only because you're not allowed to take it back because they could have put gasoline in it. They could have put diesel in it. They could put anything in it. And whether you believe it or not, glass is a little bit porous. So you can't even take the growlers back.
No, you can't.
So some states allow it. New York does not.
What about just putting because you have two pallets of growlers, right? What about just saying, hey, look, if you want a growler fill, it has to be our growler, and it has to be a new one, and it's going to cost you an extra $5 for the fill because I got to sell you the growler, but you need to buy the glass. But at least this way, and preach drinking it within 24 to 48 hours, of course.
And we don't have the equipment to do that, and nor does any other brewery on the planet to fill growlers like that in an oxygen-free environment like we do our cans.
Well, no, of course. I mean, they're not going to do that. And has anybody ever? I mean, except for a brewery that, years ago I remember, and I was just at Harpoon a week and a half ago, and they have a system where they put a growler in an oxygen-free environment or whatever, fill it up, and it caps it, and there's no oxygen in the growler. But how many breweries actually invest the money in those?
Yeah, that's about
we have one of those in the
$30,000, and we had one, and we used it. But then again, it's
still not worth it. Just buy the cans.
Yeah, just buy the cans.
Cans are better.
The same liquid.
The cans are better. You can keep them for longer. Throw them in your fridge.
Better.
Absolutely.
Right.
You're
And
right.
you get the added benefit of the cool label.
Right. There you
And
go.
I honestly think other breweries are going to go this route too.
Mhm.
I mean, there's so much loss in it. There's so much now after COVID, grabbing this thing where who knows where the heck it's been.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with you.
So we're looking at not filling growlers, and that we might be one of the first breweries to do it. And yes, it's probably going to affect some of our sales, but I'm sorry, it's just not good for the beer. And we're about
cans, baby.
We're about the beer, and we're about the quality when we do this.
Which is interesting.
Listen, if we have a bad batch, it goes down the drain.
Right.
We do not do it.
Which is interesting.
Well, I mean, at the old place, this place today is like great. So, program.
There's a brewery near you, which is one of my favorites up there, and majority of their I think all their takeout business is growler.
Right.
But
Okay.
the beer does suffer. I will say that.
Sure.
Because John's heard me say it before. There's a particular beer that I absolutely love from the Adirondacks, and you get it even if you get in the bottle because they don't do their own bottling. It's not as good as sitting in the brew pub and drinking it.
Sure. Absolutely.
A lot of what we do is focused on giving our beer a good code date, a good shelf life, and making sure it's in the best shape it can be when it gets to your lips.
Sure.
Oh, you do freshness dating.
Baby.
There you go.
Well, what we do is we do
born on dating.
we do sensory on this stuff. For instance, we found out that our Pilsner has a longer shelf life than our IPA. So we extended our shelf life of the IPA with our sensory because our DOs are so low.
But we also found out that our IPA, because our IPA does have a little bit of crystal malt in the malt bill,
Right.
that we needed to pull back our freshness date on that IPA from 90 days, and we give our IPA right now, our flagship, a 60-day code date because we have some crystal malts in there that oxidize a little quicker, and we want to make sure our wholesalers know about that. We communicate that to them. We make sure the beer is in the right shape on the shelf at the right time, and
Because we're
that's how we do
instituting
it.
now an ordering system that actually they have to order 30 days in advance. So we give them the freshest beer. So we make it during that 30 days for them. So when they get it, it's the freshest beer. So it's out and gone.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's absolutely great. Absolutely. And speaking of that, where are you sending beer to right now? Where's your distribution area?
It's a loaded question right now, bro. Right now, we're in the state of New York.
Right.
We're making moves elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we can really say right
That's
now.
fine. That's fine. I know you.
We
I know you-
reevaluated our distributors and we are moving in another direction.
That'll work. That'll work. Fair enough.
Or in business parlance, you are pivoting.
There you go. There you go. You're pivoting. You like that. There you go.
Yeah.
I
right.
hear that in too many meetings.
Let's do our top threes.
Okay.
Let's do some top threes.
What are we doing again?
We are doing well. I'll say it like I always do. Why do we do a top three? Well, we started this a year and a half ago, and it was just Dave and I before we started bringing on guests.
I mean, not quite a year and a half.
A year and 3 months ago, whatever. Before we started bringing on guests, and a year and 2 months ago. Before we started bringing on guests, and it was just Dave and I, and so what we're doing is we pay homage to 1933, repeal prohibition. So it's 33. It was Dave and I, a 3 list and a 3 list. So there you go, 33. So, but anyway, so that's why we're doing it. Plus, like I said before, top 10 would take too long. So
Don't oversplain, Lucy.
I'm done. You don't have to say that when I'm finished. You said it before I start.
Oh.
Me too.
Anyway. All right. Tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite Massachusetts breweries. Top 3 favorite Massachusetts breweries. And let's begin with our guests. Whichever one of you wants to go first, knock yourself out.
I like Jack Abbey.
Okay.
I like Jack's Abbey and Notch.
Okay.
I like their session beer mentality because I want to have 4 or 5 beers.
Yep.
All right.
And I'll tell you honestly, if we're going through that way,
I don't know if I have 3 Massachusetts breweries because honly, I don't spend a
Wait,
lot
let's go
of
to
time in Massachusetts.
let's go on tap and see what they say.
Pretty
We'll go
funny.
with whatever everybody loves. I'll
Whatever
just
everybody loves. Paul, I know
so
I
you're
know there's
going-
another Massachusetts brewery you like, Paul. I know there is. So why don't you tell us?
There is.
There is. You said it before.
One of the oldest.
I like Boston beer.
Boston Beer Company.
And I actually give a little bit of love to Pretty Things Beer and Ale Project for their historical beers.
And they're not, yeah.
They're archived beers.
They're archived beers. Yeah, any
Right.
beers that are still around that are, there you go.
If they're in your cellar, drink them up because they're probably getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, this is
It's
true.
been, what, 5, 6 years?
Yeah, some of those barley wines
5.
might be drinking good right now.
Sure.
Yeah, they probably are. Baby Tree
Just
would not at this
FYI,
point.
quick aside, we're releasing an English barley wine in a 19.2 ounce can.
An English
Ooh.
barley wine in a 19.2 ounce can.
It's
There you
not.
Yeah, it's also
So it's made for
an
tailgating, right?
wait, let me back up a little bit. It's an English barley wine, brewed only with English ingredients, English malt, English hops, New York State water. We couldn't get the English water.
You couldn't bring water over from England. You couldn't do that.
We couldn't get the Burton water. However, English malt, English hops only, aged only in barrels from countries that have been subjugated by the British.
That's a lot.
Oh,
so you,
wow.
Rum barrels.
Rum barrels. There you go.
Called
so you want
A-Up Duck.
triangle? Did you call it triangle
Called
trade?
A-Up Duck. My wife is English, so I brewed this beer only to give her a hard time. Called A-Up Duck.
Fair enough.
So
Say it
yeah,
again.
that English style barley wine will be dropping in 19.2 ounce cans within the next couple of weeks out of here.
Hey up, duck.
What's it? A-Up Duck?
A-Up Duck is like saying, hey, what's up, bud?
Hey up, duck.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you say A-Up Duck if you're from like the Midlands area of England.
Gotcha.
The can is to share.
The can is
Nice.
to share.
Yeah, well,
I know,
depends.
So you're not like shotgunning these at tailgates. You're not. They're
I would
not,
have loved if you had called it triangle trade.
triangle trade.
I
there.
would love to see
But you're
a
getting in trouble.
shotgun. I would love to see a shotgun on one of the Facebook groups of one of these 19.2 ounce cans.
You know what we need to
I
do,
don't-
John?
I don't.
We gotta get
condone
one to
it. I
Tony.
don't
We got to get
authorize
one to
it.
Tony.
There you go.
Officially from Paradox Brewery, we do not condone anyone shotgunning 11.5% ABV barley
Oh.
wine. That's all the legal disclaimer.
There
The
you go.
lager guys
You know,
do.
me-
We have no
Yeah.
legal issues with it.
Devon Hamilton personally encourages you to shotgun it.
There you
So
go.
one of our regular guests, what he can do is he can take his thumb, just his thumb, crease the can, and then pop the thing in to shotgun. He doesn't need anything.
He doesn't
to make
even
the hole.
he doesn't need a church key or anything else. He can pop it with his thumb and then shotgun it.
So
Yeah,
we
just give
may
him a can,
need
he can do it
to
himself.
need to get him one of these cans so he can do it on air.
We might have to do that. So, and he'll do it too.
Wow.
Oh, he'll
That's
do it,
like
yeah.
drinking straight alcohol. It's strong.
And I'm gonna have to get a hold of one of those as myself.
Yeah, well, I think our
It's not
clowns.
packaged. It's not packaged yet. It's still waiting to come out of barrels.
Well, we're gonna have to take a ride up. I think.
Yeah,
I actually ordered the labels today.
Gotcha.
For the beer.
Unfortunately, John, you may need a 4-wheel drive to get up there when it comes out.
Well, unfortunately, I have one. So there you go. So,
I actually don't have a 4-wheel drive, and I commute to the brewery every day.
jeez. There you go. All right, Dave, what's your top three?
Did they finish their top 3?
Just waiting on one for Paul. I think
did
he's.
two.
Oh my
Paul
God!
did, Paul did two. Paul did two.
I don't think he
Paul's
finished
got
it.
Jack Zabby and Sam Adams. He didn't. He's checking on tap for his third one.
I'm checking
What-
on tap right now to see which one I should pick.
There you,
Google
I
breweries
did
in
not-
Massachusetts.
I did Notch and Pretty Things.
there you go. Why don't we
So
just
we're
give you
waiting on one more
Notch?
for you.
Why don't we give you Notch, Paul? Why don't we do that?
Yeah, but I haven't had it. You know what I mean? The point
Apparently,
is,
neither
I
is Devon. Of
Yeah, I
course.
know, but I like their ethos and I like their ideas.
Yes, you did
and
say
I
that.
like
You
what
did
they're
say that.
doing.
Tyler weighed in. He gave us his, and it's Treehouse.
No.
See, that's the
No,
I
That's the
like
opposite
the
answer.
guys at Treehouse.
You know
but
what?
That's not my cup
I
of
like
tea.
Treehouse beers. I love Treehouse.
Paul, you don't
beers.
like
I know they do
super.
some- I know they're doing some old styles, and I know they're running some DEA equipment. So
Fair.
Don't you?
I'm
You
a
don't like
Treehouse
green with
fan.
3 R's?
And 3 E's and 3 N's.
3 E's, 3 N's.
There you go. I think it's
No,
6 E's and 3 N's.
It's not the point of Treehouse. It's like
I don't
I'm a-
necessarily agree with multiples of letters.
I'm a lager type of guy, and they make a lot of these double IPAs and stuff like that, and you know it's fine for who likes double IPAs.
I'll be honest with you. I was just at Treehouse last Monday, and I had an alt beer, not a stick alt. I had an alt beer. I had an ESB. I had an old ale. And I had a
Yeah, they're expanding their.
dark Czech. I had a dark Czech lager too, which was, And it was poured with a slow pour tap too, so it was really pillowy head, and it was
We have a slow pour tap.
it was really it was really tasty. So
My gift to Paul when we opened the new brewery actually was slow pour taps
There you go.
for the tasting room.
And I'll show you.
And Paul's going to get a slow pour right now. He just left us.
I thought he was going to rip the tap off and come back and show us
He's
show us the actual spigot.
He is literally going to the slow pour tap right now.
Very nice. So he'll be back in about 15
we are,
minutes.
We are alone and live.
There you go. You and Paul's chair and the two of us. There you go. So,
any gotcha questions you got for Paul right now is the time to get them in.
So the thing about the donkey.
All right, yeah. No, we'll do that later.
We'll leave that alone.
Anyway, all right, Dave. We'll wait for Paul to get back.
Okay.
Slow pour tap. What's your top three?
So no, I wasn't going to put Treehouse on it, and I also was not going to put Trillium on it, though. You know I love Trillium.
Oh, that's a nice
beautiful
pour.
thing.
Look at that.
That was a fast pour for a slow pour.
It was a fast slow pour.
No, he's going to pee now.
There you go.
That might be a faster pour,
There you go.
but probably still just as foamy.
Now we're behind my desk, and there are cans and glasses
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Nice.
There you go.
As it should be.
As
We
it
should have
be.
done this behind Paul's desk.
There you go. All right, Dave.
Make Tyler come up and clean it.
There you go. Tyler, get on up there. I'll take a ride up with you. I'll drink, you clean.
Tyler does not come up here to clean.
So as I was saying, yes, on the 22nd, more than likely, I will be stopping at Treehouse to stock up on some of the stuff of theirs that I like.
There you go.
I will, while I'm in Boston, we'll be stopping at Trillium, and I do love Trillium.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to throw them on the three. I want to give other breweries love that aren't always given mega fanboy love.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Let's face it, they've got themselves mega fanboys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go a little south of Boston and hit Vitamin C. I like a lot of stuff they do. Their stouts. And I'm a big, and John will tell you, I'm a stout whore.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
you can even take the word stout off of that.
I've never actually drank any of their beers, but I've heard them on a couple podcasts. I'm a big podcast guy, and you know what? Vitamin C, it sounds like they're doing some cool shit.
Yeah, they are. I've actually had a couple of things from them up in Massachusetts, and I've had a couple of things, actually, ironically, from Dave. He actually got me the cans.
Give it to him in Portland.
In Portland, exactly, in Portland. There you go. Tyler said he'll be there in 2 weeks. Tyler, I'll take a ride up with you. There you go.
There we go.
We don't see a lot of vitamin C up here in basically Canada.
Pretty much, yeah.
For people who
Canada
are
South.
Jersey, this is basically Canada.
Canada South, yeah.
It's close.
Yeah.
So, but the next one I'm going to put up there is it's because I love their space so much. Their beer is good. I'll give them that. There's this little brewery called Bog Iron.
Okay.
And what I love about them is they're just so involved in their community.
Mm-hmm.
When I went there, you could tell it's like most of the people in there were from the town. They were sitting there drinking. I sat next to the Grand Dame of the town who was at the brewery, and
We have one of those too.
What is
you have one of those?
Yeah.
There you
Someone
go.
explain that to me?
Ronnie that comes in every day that sits in the corner there and has his beers
Is that just the old guy who lives in the town?
and sits in
Well,
the
Grand
corner.
Dame is a way to say old guy without actually saying
Well,
old
Grand
guy.
Dame
Yeah,
is
he's not an old guy.
well, Grand Dame is technically female. This would be Grand Dame.
Grand
I guess.
Dame, yeah, all right.
But so it took them a while to get the flight that I wanted. So I actually had her order my flight for me since she knew all their beers.
Sure.
So that was a lot of fun. But that place was awesome. And the other one, and John knows this is something. Okay, so after we had met in Portland, it was a big, main trip up there for a week.
Sure.
On the way back, hit a few breweries. One of them was in Ellsbury, right near the border of New Hampshire, and just immediately fell in love with their beer.
Amesbury.
Sorry, Amesbury.
Ellsbury is Jacoby. He used to play for the Sox and the Yankees.
That's right. I remember him. But in Amesbury, and they specialize in German styles. And they've got a lot of slow pour taps, and that's Brewery Sylvaticus. And man, they've got a neat space making beautiful liquid. Their Schwartz beer is out of this world.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
another
good.
one that he brought back for me that I didn't get because he drank it. But
Yeah, that's accurate.
I think this is the third or fourth time you brought up Schwarzbier too.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's-
we're
he
both big
loves-
Schwarzbier
We
horse.
are big.
So,
Yes. Gotta love this style.
there you go. All right.
So it's passing it on to John, unless Paul's got a third he wants to throw up if he's done his.
Oh my God, I'm
Don't worry
horrible
about
at
it, Paul. It's all right. We'll give you a pass. It's fine. All right. Again, I didn't put Treehouse or Trillium on my list.
Between the two of them, they got 3 in or 4, right?
They got 5, and actually 1, 2, 3,
You
4.
got,
They got
you got a cheater right on your shirt too.
well, you're not supposed to read that yet. All right.
Don't read the
I'll
hieroglyphics.
let you go ahead.
Anyway, I didn't put Treehouse or Trillium on my list. I mean, obviously, we'll go from there.
They don't need the
They don't
progressive,
need.
even though
They
we're
don't
giving
need
them
it.
a lot
They
of
don't need it. Yeah, exactly. I do want to mention really quick before I give you my top 3, and here we go again. Me throwing some others in there, but they're not on my list. So, I've been to Remnant a couple of times now. Once back in August, and then just a couple weeks ago in Somerville. Actually, they're making some pretty decent liquid, and they have really great coffee in there too. But they're right in Somerville.
I'm not
and
going to make it there.
And I was at Old Planters up in Beverly. We went up there. We went up to Beverly on Sunday. Went up to Marblehead actually, and then we went through Salem and got up to Beverly. There's 5 breweries. There used to be one for the last 3 years now. There's 5 breweries in Beverly. One just opened up. Everyone closed except for Old Planters. So on a Sunday. So, but really good beer, really good liquid, and there's a taco place right next door that delivers into the brewery. So that worked perfectly. So
That's not a bad deal.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say Mystic. The liquid was decent. Some of the stuff was really good, but the space was really cool, and it just it was just a shame. A couple of years ago they closed. Before the pandemic, they closed. They were in Chelsea. But my top 3, long way to go to my top 3. Here we go. So my number 3.
Oh, it hasn't started yet. Oh,
I haven't. Yeah. My number 3. I'll make it quick. My number 3 is Dorchester. It's in South Boston. It's in Dorchester, obviously section of Boston or whatever.
Hence the name.
Really great liquid.
You like it because the distillery's right.
A lot of decent styles, and right around the corner is Bully Boy. Yeah, exactly. What you call it? Just it's a pretty solid brewery. I would have had Brewery Savaticus would have been on my list, but I actually haven't had anything from them or been there. So
you were supposed to go on your Boston trip.
I was supposed to go. Yeah, exactly. So, and why would I put a brewery that I haven't had anything from or been to on my list?
Massachusetts brewery that I didn't have anything from. That
I was busting your chops there.
Ideas.
I don't know. Anyway, so my number 2 is Jack's Abbey. I mean, just everything they make. I mean, all the lagers they make there. Picked up a couple of bottles of the new framing hammers that they came out with, their Baltic porters that they barrel aged. Just crazy good liquid. And of course, Springdale's right there, their sister brewery, and they do all of the ales.
That gingerbread framing hammer.
Oh yeah, it's so good. They didn't come out this year. They came out with new ones. They came out with salted caramel, tiramisu, Taza chocolate. They came out with a few different ones. They don't have the gingerbread this year.
Not this year, huh?
Not this year, no. But in any event, and they're not overly sweet too. It's just a hint of it. It's nice barrel aged Baltic porter with a hint of whatever.
The s'mores one was good too last
year.
S'mores
was good, yeah. And my number 1, and there you go. That's what the shirt is for, right there. And it is my number 1, even over Trillium and Treehouse. For me, Night Shift is the best brewery for me in Massachusetts. They make so many different styles. I don't think there's a style that I haven't had from Night Shift at some point or another. And they do all of them so well and really good. So there you go. Those are my 3. So anyway,
everyone. There's not one in that whole place.
They're okay.
Everybody, I mean, including myself. I'm saying,
maybe they haven't done a Portugal lager. I'm sure they haven't done Superbach from.
They do a chicha.
You sound like a marketing agent.
All right, we fucked up plenty of beer.
Yeah, come on. There's not.
There are. All right, I'll rephrase, Paul. There are many, many, many styles. There's more styles in my mind. They've made more styles than many other Massachusetts breweries. How's that? And they make them all very well.
There you
go. A lot of caveats in there.
There you go.
Every brewery has a tendency. They say some of their beers they don't like because it's not the style that actually they were trying to shoot for.
Right.
The public,
the
public might like it. For one of our beers that we had was a little bit too roasty. Okay, But other people loved it. Okay, loved it. And what we're trying to accomplish, and I think other breweries are the same way, is like they say, we're trying to do this, but not every beer comes out perfect every time unless you're making one style 24/7, especially your one-offs that you're making. It's just it's tough to do it. I mean,
sure. I mean, if you make a one-off and then don't do it again for 4 years, it's going to be really hard to duplicate that exact beer that you made 4 years earlier.
Well, it's no
Come
different.
close, come damn close.
Our
But
LS or Beaver Bite. Our Beaver Bite's gone through generations of getting better and better.
Oh well, yeah,
Right,
that's it.
to where we are today, from haze stability to everything else. It's very important, and you won't see anything drop out of our hazy IPAs. They
Nice.
don't drop out anymore.
Nothing.
We've worked on even our brewer wrote a paper with one of the manufacturers that makes this testing equipment too.
Nice.
Published yet? Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and the brewer's the most critical on it too. The brewers slam their own products too,
Of course.
So,
Definitely.
and they
Yeah,
have to. You have to continuously change.
You have to continuously change and innovate and not only respond to the market, but respond to what you see the need is.
Right.
You know, and you've got something there because I know back in the days when I was on Beer Advocate quite often reviewing beers, if you glow about a beer, you'll never hear from the brewer. If you shit on a beer, they're going to respond to you more often than not. I remember getting into an argument about somebody about a Stone beer. Turned out that I was arguing with the owner of the brewery about the beer. That was embarrassing, but it's the point is because it was a negative review, they wanted to know why it was a negative review. What's wrong with the beer? What don't you like? Explain it to me. So if you can explain it in an intelligent manner to the brewers, they actually do appreciate that. So they're getting the constructive feedback rather than just, oh, this IPA is too friggin' bitter.
Right.
I really hate your porter.
Right.
Yeah.
1 star. Miller Lite, 5 stars.
No,
Right.
All right,
Yeah.
give me a break.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Fix the algorithms in Untappd, please.
It's one of the things that I have said for years. I've said if you don't like a style, don't rate the beer. Don't
Right.
rate. You can check it in. Don't rate it.
Unless you're savvy enough to be able to rate it against the style.
Right.
And not against your own personal palate.
Right. And there's
But
plenty
there's
of
not a lot of people that can
there's
do
plenty of ratings that I've seen
So
they
you
would put out.
believe those
I
people on that app do that?
yeah. Well, no, they don't. That's the point.
No.
But
Well, I do.
They
But-
want maybe you, but they want their
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
stars and their little things and their little.
Right.
Well, there's to be fair, and it's not fair to the brewers, but to be fair, a lot of people use it. Like when I first started using, I only used it to keep track of what I had drank and if I liked it or not. So the stars were for me and against my palate until I realized, hey, this is impacting the brewers because people are going on, seeing the average rating of the brewery and may pass that brewery, may pass them up on a trip.
Right.
Whereas it may not be fair because this brewery might be you might be in New England and making something other than New England IPAs. And if you're in New England making something other than New England IPAs, you're going to get pissed on because that's what everyone wants to drink there.
Right.
I know one brewery that I'm not particularly fond of that has got fantastic ratings, and when you look at their catalog, they're 90% hazy IPAs.
Sure.
It's the same damn
it's-
recipe with 5 different hops constantly being switched over.
out, yeah.
And it's like, can
I-
we stop this?
On that note, on the opposite side of that, it wasn't just for hazy IPAs, and I won't say the name of the brewery. I don't even say the state that it was in, but Jess and I were on a day trip, and we went to 4 or 5 breweries. And the third one we were going to, just looking at the ratings on Untappd, just the global rating for the brewery, not each individual beers or anything like that. The global rating for the brewery was like 4.8. I'm like, oh my God. And it had many reviews. It didn't have like 5 reviews. It
wasn't just the guy's mother?
No, it had a lot of reviews, right? So we're like, oh, this beer has to be phenomenal, right? We got there. The beer was very good. I'm not going to say the beer was crap. The beer was actually very good, but it was not a 4.8. There were high 3s, maybe a 4, maybe a couple were maybe a 4.1, that kind of a thing. Clearly, all of the fanboys were just rating it and nothing else. So ratings, I never, unless a brewery has a global rating of 2.5 and they have 50,000 ratings, then I'll stay away from it. But other than that, I'm making my own decision. I'm calling it.
Unfortunately, people live by that.
I asked our guys, we don't rate any brewery. We should not. We're in the industry. We don't rate it.
Yeah.
Our opinions don't matter to the brewery. We stay within ourselves. We are not going. No employee should be rating any other breweries.
I check in the beers on Untappd, and I do not give them a rating.
We rate in-house, but we will not go out there and rate any other brewery. And we won't make a phantom marketing thing against other brewery. We
right?
don't
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they do it. And there are breweries that do it.
There are. No, there absolutely are. Definitely.
And there are some. I have some friends who make fun of me because my rating average tends to be a little on the high side. Because I take into account that, hey, this is impacting the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
And if they've made it and it's quality, even if I don't like it, if it's quality and they've made a good beer, I'm going to give it a high rating.
Did you rate us? Let me check this.
Yeah, I did. Let's
pull it out there.
Paul,
this was a 4.5.
I'll send you screenshots of his ratings.
Just write the label.
That was a 4.25.
There you go.
Right, just write the label. That's all I care about.
Just the label. Well, what I love about this label is because I love the Adirondacks. I'm a big hiker. You've got like the lines for altitude on there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's our. You know what? Honestly, we do a lot of that with our. We call it our. Where is it?
There you go.
There it is.
Kind of grocery store, convenience store beers. All right, most of them all have the same type of topographical and other things like that. So as they sit in the shelf, you can see different. You say, oh, those are Paradox. That's a green one. That's the Pils, and the reds, the Hellas. The orange ones, the Overbite, the greens, the Beaver Bite, so that people can see it that way.
Nice.
But then our specialty beers, like you have the Brass Bones right there.
Yep.
That's all designed by local artists and stuff around here, as well as these right here, like the Bad Wolf and the other ones.
Yeah, this is a sharp can. It's a sharp graphic.
Yeah,
It is.
Our Culture Fair that we had at Culture Fair made it look like the 20s. Where is that one? I don't even know where that one. Oh, that's one down over here. Can you see it down in here?
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It kind of looks like the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Roaring.
Yes.
Roaring,
yes. All right. Well, this has been great. I think we covered a lot. Is there anything coming up, not beer wise, but event wise? Anything you're doing at the brewery for the holidays? Anything coming up next year that you want to put out there?
I mean, we got a lot of new beers planned for next year, but event wise, stuff at the brewery and stuff like that, we're always open here at the brewery.
And we have a
in
full
the
kitchen
tap room.
now.
We have a full kitchen.
Nice.
Welcome everybody in, but right now nothing
Your beer cheese is some of the best beer cheese I've ever had.
All homemade with Beaver Bite.
Good.
There you go.
So good.
Paul makes it every morning fresh.
No.
No.
Please don't count the calories in that beer cheese.
I'm sure.
Well, he had a Whopper, so what the hell's he care?
He just had a Whopper before. What are you talking about?
Well, I needed to run the marathon. I need those calories.
I'm going home to have salmon, okay?
But Paul, you got to pour some of the beer cheese over the salmon. That's how you got to eat it. So.
There you
go. Do you think Joni would take it that way? I don't
probably
think so.
Not. Right?
The beer cheese doesn't really pour.
All right, this is true. All right, spoon some of the beer cheese on it. How's that? All right, guys, hang out a second. Don't sign off. We'll talk to you for a couple of minutes after we sign off the show. Just we'll wrap up the show for today on this point. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you
thanks everyone.
Absolutely. Those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening.
Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler and Corey.
Thanks, Tyler and Corey.
And Corey.
Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, our YouTube channel. Yes. And, of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30. How's that?
Oh, you're taking away my ish.
Around.
He usually says 6:30. I get to throw ish in there because it's very ish.
Mike Mildorf just said hi.
Hey, Mike.
There you go.
I guess I'm going home to eat leftovers.
And Devon, Devon, you don't like multiple letters, right? You said you're not down with that. He put a couple of I's.
He
in
put too high. It's high. It's extra. It's an extra high.
Does
So
he
there
work
you
for
go.
Treehouse?
He works for Treehouse. Absolutely. Anyway.
No, he doesn't.
He actually works for
Mike
us.
actually works for us every once in a while.
There you go.
Every once in a while.
Anyway, for
Hey,
those
we're
of you.
gonna live in New Jersey.
For those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Plus, the show is now available on Amazon Music Podcasts and iHeartRadio as well.
What is the statute of limitations when you just throw that into the regular string rather than now?
Actually, it's going to be in there for it's usually 8 weeks, and then and then it just becomes part of it. So this was the seventh week that we're on. So.
Spotify exclusive like Joe Rogan?
No, not Spotify exclusive. No, we're on multiple ones.
They don't
So.
pay us anything.
Just waiting for the
Spotify
deal.
does not send us a check like they do Joe Rogan. So, but in any event,
We also don't eat cockroaches.
this is true. Anyway,
Think
if
about
you have-
Bannon.
all right.
It's not, we try not to go political on the show.
And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Paul, Devon, thank you for coming on the show. This has been a great show. Really liked everything we talked about, and the beer's phenomenal. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get up there in the next couple weeks. So I might show up with Tyler. We'll find out. We'll see. But anyway, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we'll talk to you soon, folks.
Get some of this.
There you go. Take care. Cheers.
That's a love shot for grass.